Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Year of No Sugar Book Club, the debrief, right? I know that a lot of you were asking for more meetings, but I actually designed it this way. I wanted it to be something very laid back, something that you could join at any time, and that you could read at your own pace and just have certain prompts and reflections, right? And throughout the past few weeks, we have been going through and shipping into like the different chapters of this book. And let's just get started. Let's go over what we discovered. So, the plot, right? Like, what is this book about? The book is actually about a family that tries a year without added sugar and learns how sneaky sugar actually is, right? Like, and it started with this video that Eve, the author, saw on YouTube about sugar. And it was very sciencey, and it's actually on YouTube. And I shared that video at the very first email when you signed up for the book club. And it had tons of information and mind-blowing facts. And that's what actually caused her to get on this journey. Now, it didn't mean that she completely swore off sugar. It didn't mean that she never had sugar ever again. It was more about, okay, like let's experiment. What would happen if I actually do this? And my intended goal for this book club was for you to actually gain awareness, right? Like understand, okay, what is added sugar? Where is added sugar? How can I actually identify it? Be able to have doable boundaries. What do I mean by that? That it's not an all in or all out, but more, okay, these are the items that I typically gravitate towards. Let's start switching something. Let's make one step and be able to create those boundaries. Maybe it could be, and later on we're going to talk about that. Just swapping certain items from your pantry that you know have added sugar and experiment and see also where you want to allocate that sugar within your meals. Now, embracing flexibility, not perfection, because in the end, as a health coach that works with pre-diabetics and that works with people that want to lose weight, this is the one common thing that I see. All these extreme diets and extreme measures, they're rarely sustainable. They work for a little bit and then they just don't. So this is the part that I wanted to bring awareness with this book club. Now, there's a little bit of science, and I'm going to try to cover it. I know that there's a lot more to it, but I'm going to try to cover it. And sucrose, right? Like the sucrose breakdown. Sucrose is table sugar. And sucrose consists of glucose and fructose. And I'm going to touch on it a little bit later. But fructose, which is what that video on YouTube that I referred to earlier refers to as poison. Like he actually says fructose is poison, and it's because your body cannot process it directly. It has to go through the liver to be processed. And it can actually impact the function of the liver significantly. And that's why you find that some people that develop diabetes, then they end up having that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. There could be a connection, and it has to do with how the fructose impacts the liver. Now, key science facts that I would love for you to remember from the year of no sugar, right? Insights. Understanding sucrose, which is table sugar, which is simple sugar, that sucrose has glucose and fructose, and fructose impacts the liver. I want you to get that understanding. And dextrose, which is something that the author incorporated later on, it is almost like a substitute for regular sugar when she wanted to have something baked and she didn't want to use the table sugar because technically she was trying to avoid fructose. Now, she didn't avoid fruits, and that is because fruit is not processed. So the fructose that is in those fruits comes with the fiber in the fruit, and it comes in natural sources. So your body has a way of processing it without impacting the liver in a negative way. Now, there is a mention that I want you to keep in mind, and I actually purchased dextrose. I have not used it. I have not baked, and I actually don't have table sugar in my house, believe it or not. but I decided to try it. And at one point, I will try, and maybe I'll create another video or I will send an email out to my email list just to tell them how it went. But she actually incorporated that on occasion, and she was not necessarily anti-sugar. So this is not about not having any carbs, not having any sugar. It's about not having the added sugar, things that are added to items that we're consuming after they have been processed. And the key is to prioritize protein and fiber. And they did notice, and they will mention how they had more stable energy, how it was just so much better. So here's a little bit about the whole sucrose, glucose, and fructose. So fructose is mostly processed in the liver. In excess, it can actually drive fat creation there. So that's what I was saying about having that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is because of that. And again, as I mentioned before, whole fruit is not the same. So when you're eating the fruit with that fiber, your blood sugar is going to be able to process. It's not going to spike. It's treated completely different. And remember, glucose as well as dextrose is used by all cells. Now it still spikes your blood sugar. It still does. So that's why I always tell my clients, please make sure that you follow my PFF formula, not your best friend forever, but your PFF formula. And what that is, protein, fiber, and fat. Those are the three elements that I want you to incorporate. And the other thing that I always say is don't eat carbs naked. So even if it is a piece of fruit and you know that you have insulin resistance, you know your A1C levels are elevated, maybe you're pre-diabetic, I would say even if it is something as healthy as fruit, make sure you're paired with some sort of healthy fat or some source of protein. And that could be a string cheese, a meat stick, a handful of nuts. Just make sure you don't eat carbs naked. And these are like three big takeaways, right? Three big takeaways that I would like for you to take from. If there's nothing else, these are the three things that I want you to remember. Hidden sugar is everywhere. So you need to look at your labels. Deli meats, sauces, juices, right? You will think that, oh, it's fresh juice. It's 100% juice. A lot of them, they actually put the added sugar on top of that. So make sure you read your labels. I do have a video that will cover the labels. I do have a blog post that actually talks about in detail how to read your labels and how to identify the added sugars. So feel free to reach out if you want links for those, and I will be more than happy to send it. Now, taste buds adapt, right? That sweet tolerance, it kind of drops. And I can say it from my own experience, right? Like I don't have table sugar in my house. There are certain things that I just don't incorporate anymore, and I actually don't even crave. So the few times that maybe I eat a piece of chocolate, sometimes it tastes extremely sweet just because my taste buds have changed and have adapted. And now I enjoy more natural sources of sugar and sweet stuff. And the third element is planning beats power, right? A lot of people think that, oh, I'm just not strong enough, or the opposite. I am going to be strong. I can resist this. And sometimes it's just you're chemically inclined to crave these things. And it takes times for your body to somewhat reset. So plan to have your protein, have your fiber. If you're going, now that it's the summertime, if you're going to social events, have social scripts, know exactly how to say no in a very nice way, and practice it. Practice it in your mirror and make sure that that helps, right? So those are like the big three takeaways. And I would say health is wealth, right? Like when you're healthy, you're going to save money, you're going to save in your quality of life, you're going to feel so much better. So here's a tiny action checklist, right? Like things that you can incorporate. If you have no clue where to start, I would say like, okay, start looking at your sugary drinks and maybe choose water or herbal tea instead. And if you drink, I hope not, but if you drink like 3, 4 cans of soda, start with one and start incorporating that, right? Like you already like know if you watch that video from Robert Lustig, how much sugar it has. And it definitely, one small can actually goes over the amount that it is generally the guideline for added sugar for a day. So just keeping that in mind. Start slow. Maybe it's going to be about replacing your sweet snacks, right? Like some of these protein bars and sort of these granola bars, they have a lot of added sugar, but there are other options that are great that you can incorporate. So start looking at the labels and start experiencing and pick one thing. Again, read labels carefully. Look for hidden sugars in packaged foods and condiments and all of these things, and that will bring awareness. And I'm not saying never ever have anything that has added sugar, but just be aware and keep in mind that the guideline is 25 grams of sugar for women and 38 grams of sugar for men for added sugar per day. That is the guideline. So if you incorporate less than 25 grams of added sugar as a woman or 38 as a man, then you're following that guideline. And that is a good boundary to kind of like place or a way of measuring how you're doing. And plan your meals, plan your snacks. I do have a a blood balancing snacks list that I give for free. Again, if you want it, ask for it. And prepare those meals thinking about that PFF formula. That is like the key. So think about these things. I hope that reading this book has given you awareness. I will actually set up the link where I initially had the landing page to join, and I am going to set it as an evergreen. So while it was a summer book club, I'm actually going to adjust it so that anyone that would like to get these prompts and go over it and read it, they can actually do that. And it's absolutely free. So I will definitely like share the link. And I am just so happy and glad that you joined me in this journey of reading this book. Now, thank you so much. Here's where you can stay connected. Visit my webpage, www.jennypena.com. If you have any questions, if you need any of the links, any of the resources that I mentioned, send me an email at hello@jennypena.com. And if you would like to follow on Instagram, my handle is Coach Jen P. Thank you so much for joining me. And hopefully, in the next book club, we will think of how we can meet a little bit more. Okay, thanks.